Hi, this is Bryan Patterson, sales engineer at OpenMesh, here to give you an overview of how CloudTrax works with the new G200 router. So you'll see in the network overview page that there is a new link to routers. Once you click that, you can go in and add a new router. So we'll give it a name. We'll say Ajax, and then give it a MAC address. The MAC address will be on the bottom of the router, as well as the box. And then once you click add, it will bring you back to the router status page. So you can also bulk out upload if you have a whole bunch of routers that you've purchased. But now I'm going to go into my router that I've already had up for a little over a week. And we can see that their utilization over the last day, week, month, and then we can also see the traffic groupings and our router clients, as well as their IP address, and then what we've detected their operating system to be. Then we also have a representation of what ports are active or inactive, and we can see what those are, as well as our WAN IP, MAC address, and uptime. Now in our router port settings, we have our ports where we can label which port is what and enable on a per port basis. And we can also have PoE on ports 3 and 4. So I'm going to save that so I can power up my A42. And we also have LAN segregation available, so each port would be segregated from each other. Now on our WAN settings, we can choose which port has priority over the other, and then they'll fail over if one goes down. We also have the USB host available for future expansion. And now we're going to go over to our WAN settings. In our WAN settings, we can set up our DNS server, whether that be automatic or manual. And we can also choose whether we want a DHCP or static IP address. Now you can have up to 3 static IP addresses depending on what your ISP gives you. And with those static IP addresses, you can set up things like one-to-one NAT. And we're going to go back to DHCP and an automatic DNS server. Now we're going to go over to our LAN settings, where we can set up different LANs for different ports. For this LAN, I'm going to set it up for all 4 ports on the router and set up our gateway IP as 192.168.1.1, as well as where we want our DHCP pool to start and end, as well as our lease time. I can also do DHCP reservations, so I'm going to set my A42 at 1.2. Now our VLAN settings are just about the same. We set up our VLAN with what ports we want them to be on, and then the same thing where we want our gateway IP to be, as well as DHCP pool. So we're going to move over to our firewall and NAT, and where we can set up a new port forward. We're going to say that this is a web server coming in on port 80, and our destination IP inside of the network is going to be within that VLAN and 10.10.8.100. We're going to give it a destination port of 8080, and we click add. And now we have a port forward set up. We can also do one-to-one NAT coming in from a IP address. Now setting up our VPN. From this section, we will choose to enable the VPN, and then our network address where the VPN users will be able to have a DHCP pool to pull from. Then we choose our subnet mask for that, and then we can choose whether we want the VPN users to have primary LAN access. From there, we can set up our VPN users, and then CloudTrax will automatically generate the credentials and certificates for the VPN users. Now moving on to QoS, we have different traffic shaping that is hardware accelerated on the G200, so we can choose that we want our voice sections to be high priority, and our web we'll say is medium, and we don't want file sharing to be too high, so we're going to make that low. Then once we're all done, we can just go over and click Save Router Settings, and then we're done. And that concludes our G200 router demo. in CloudTrax. If we have any more questions, feel free to contact us.